Hey, what's up? You're here today with Nick the Informative Fisherman. Today we're going to be discussing beginner catfishing, and what I mean by beginner catfishing is this segment is just for channel catfish and bullhead catfish. There's a whole variety of catfish out there in the world and the rigs can vary quite a bit, but today it's just bullheads and channel cat. This is a very basic rig. What this is a sliding rig. This is your slider, slides up and down the line. You have a numerous choice of weights. I choose a pyramid weight here, which is a 2 ounce. Depending if the water is a tidal water, which means the water moves in and out with the current, you would want to use a lot more weight. If you're in a lake, you can use a 1 ounce weight, a round weight. And what I mean by those is you have your round weights here, your ball weights, which roll across the bottom, your other round weights, and you know, if you're fishing real deep, you can go with a heavier weight to get it down there, or anything else for that matter. Now, your slider is placed above your swivel, which means you have your slider that goes, the line runs through your slider, and your weight hooks onto the side of it just like a swivel. Your swivel comes here, just below the slider, which blocks the slider from getting down to your line, to where when the fish pulls, there's no friction, there's no tension for the fish there, so they don't feel the weight, and you actually feel the bite. And from there, your line hooks on over the swivel. The swivel pops open right here. Let me show you. Pops open. You can slide your line on and off. The swivel pops shut, and you slide that over, and you can see that you have your hook here. The hook choice that I prefer for channel catfish and bullhead catfish is a size number 4 hook. I pick up the pre-snelled hooks from Walmart or wherever you may be able to pick up your fishing supplies. I like number 4 hooks that are already snelled on, and snail's just the type of knot that's tied onto the hooks here. Size 4 is a good size hook for either of those species of catfish. Okay, now the line that you're using for these type of catfish, I prefer nothing less than 8-pound tests. A lot of people fish, you know, 4 and 6-pound tests and try to play the fish out a little bit better. But when you're getting started, it's best to use a little bit stronger line. And all my knots are Palomar knots. I will post up another segment about how to tie the knots. Otherwise, that might take too much time right now. But 8 to 17-pound tests, depending on if there's really large catfish, use the higher test line. And test means the line strength. When they say 14 pounds, then you know that's the pull strength of the line. Right here I actually have on 14-pound tests. Now the actual rod and reel, people can catch catfish on a variety of rod and reels. Any reel you want to use, as long as it supports you know, from a stronger line, anything above 8-pound tests. If your reel supports it, that's fine. You can use surf rods, spinning rods, bait casting rods, anything you want to use, as long as it's at least a medium action, medium to heavy action. You don't want to use light action rods like little trout rods or crappie rods, because a good catfish can just snap one of those rods on you or snap the line you're using. Now for your bait. The most standard bait and commonly used bait for people who are learning how to catfish in the beginning is nightcrawler worms. I'll try to pop the lid off here for you, let you get a good look at them. They're a bigger worm versus like bluegill or crappie. You would use red worms or little pieces of nightcrawler, but when you're catfishing, I prefer nightcrawlers, and the worm's fairly large. You don't want to use the whole worm. I would say no more than half. You don't want to completely cover your hook to where the catfish has a tough time getting himself hooked on there. Another thing they have on the market are these dough baits. Magic bait is what they call them. You'll find these in lots of stores, and it comes in a little chunk, just like a little chunk of dough, and you actually put your hook into the center of that and you smash the dough in and around your hook to where it's real firm on there. Depending on the lake or river, wherever you're using, I've found lots of success with these here, and I've also found a ton of success with night crawlers. A lot of different variety of fish will bite your night crawlers. Not too many of them will actually bite this, just catfish. So if you're looking to catch a variety of fish, use night crawlers. If you're going for just catfish, you can switch over to these night crawler dough baits, or they have also a blood bait dough bait, which works pretty good for channel catfish alone. Okay, now we made it down to our spot. I'm here with Jose today. It's a friend of mine. Second here. Well, like I said, we're using night crawlers. We don't want to use the whole entire night crawler to cover up the whole hook. We want the catfish to really work at it. So I'm actually just going to pinch them in half, just like so, and use about that much and stick this part back in the box. Okay, so now we have our sliding rig. As you can see, it's sliding up and down on the line there. Our swivel, and then our snail pre-hook size 4 on here with the night crawler bundled up and the tip of the hook just sticking out just a bit, just like that. I'm hoping things go right, catch like a pin. Here we have a double drop shot high-low leader with the swivel on the bottom and the pyramid weight hook right down here. This is another rig that I'll actually show you in the advanced portion of the video. I also use this for striped bass. Once again, I tie Palomar knots on all my junctions here. I'm using a 2-ounce pyramid weight because this is tidal water. The water will move quite a bit, and you need a pyramid weight to actually get caught down in the mud because it's a real soft bottom over here. When I say that you want to use a medium to heavy rod or a light to medium rod in such a pounds test, you know, for a bait casting rod or a spinning rod, you can actually see what your rod supports right here on the base of the rod. If you do a little close-up, you can see right here how much line your rod can take and what it is, if it's a medium to heavy or medium to light action rod. And it'll tell you the length of your rod right there, 6.5 or a 7-footer. Now when you're fishing for catfish, you can find them in pretty much any lake or river system out there. Catfish are abundant in all sorts of different species. There's no particular place to really search for catfish better than others. You can find them in spots where there's not structure on the bottom or just muddy areas. You can find them just about anywhere. They say the key times to catching catfish is around sundown and at nighttime. Aside from that, there's not too much else for tracking catfish.
One part that I would like to add here is you see me getting a bite. Watch closely. If you really want to feel the bite, you need to have a little bit of tension on your line. You don't want a lot of loose line there. You really need to be able to feel the fish quick to get a good hook set. Okay, now watch closely here after I release this fish. Jose's going to get a real strong bite, and watch how fast he sets the hook, just like that. You see that? He had a good amount of tension on that line to feel that fish. As soon as it pumped the rod, bam. As soon as that rod tip went down, he gave it a good solid hook set on these catfish like this. Nice channel cat there.
Alright, nice hook set, dude. Alright, Jose got us a good channel cat here. Probably about 16, 17 inches. Now the way to hold them is they have horns. Right here, and the top fin. So you slide your hand back to push the top horn down level with his body. And the base of your thumb and the base of your index finger slide up to hold the other horn stable. You don't want to get yourself hooked by one of these little horns here. Really burn you. And catfish have really hard mouths. Take a little close up where you can see where he's hooked right here. And you can see how hard Jose had to set the hook. There's a good reason for that. You don't set the hook hard on these guys, they'll spit the bait right back out. Alright, now with the catch and release of catfish, they're pretty tough. You don't have to be too fragile, they'll swim off no matter what. So give them a nice little toss back in. And he's ready to go. And that's beginner catfishing with Nick the Informative Fisherman.